Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV in a new edition of our online interview series. Today, we want to talk to George Paspalas, the CEO of MAG Silver. Hey, George, good morning to Canada. How are you, my friend?
Oh, good, Jochen. Good morning to you and all the viewers as well.
Yeah, thank you. Great for taking the time. It has been a while since we spoke, and a lot of good things happened, of course. So let's start first. You are taking over. You want to acquire Gatling Exploration. Correct. Why do you do that? Why do you see, let's say, advantages here?
Well, our strategy in MAG is to grow the company doing what we're good at, and that's exploration. And we have a very tight filter that we place over potential exploration opportunities, and which is why we only have 3, right? And you know, one of the real attractions for us with Gatling is it ticks one of our first boxes, which is location, location, location. If you look at the Juanicipio property, right, a tier 1 silver asset, it's in the best silver district in the world. If you look at Deer Trail, we're doing phase 2 drilling at Deer Trail now in Utah. It sits on the same fault structure and trend as Bingham Canyon, as the Tintic region. And so location, location, location. And now Gatling sits smack bang in the middle of the Cadillac break in the Abitibi. For gold, location, location, location. So that's what was compelling for us. And we like the technical group at Gatling. We believe are very strong. And I think that supports us in MAG as we start to grow the company, as we get cash flow from Juanicipio, right? You never say never, but there's certainly no intent right now in MAG to go out and do any major acquisition and, you know, purchase producing companies or turnaround stories or that. That's not our DNA. Our DNA is to go and find, hopefully, jewels that people have overlooked or come in on something with a different theory. Exactly what happened at Juanicipio. Exactly. What we hope will happen at Deer Trail, and ultimately what we hope will happen with Gatling. Then we have a stool to sit on that's got 3 legs on it. Which is pretty standard.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it looks to me like also that you are diversifying, let's say, a little bit outside of Mexico, because now you started with the US, now you have Canada. Is that also like that, as you said, to put the company on now 3 solid columns?
Yeah, and look, I don't think it's good to have all your eggs in the one basket in case you drop the basket, right? You're going to break a lot of eggs.
That's right.
And you know, more than countries, and we're going to keep it simple geographically, right? We're looking in the Canada's, US, maybe more Mexico, maybe not, we'll see. But we look for jurisdictions, right? Jurisdictions where you can explore, and jurisdictions where if you're successful, you can build a mine. So Utah is definitely one of those. It's a very mining-friendly jurisdiction, and we enjoy great relationships down there with all of our social contacts, all of our stakeholders. The Abitibi is the same, right? The historical mining area. There's good relationships with the First Nation groups here. We will continue that. And they're good places to do our business.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Super. Before we start with Deer Trail, because I have some questions there, what is going on with Juanicipio? We heard that you have, let's say, some delays. I wouldn't say problems, but some delays due to COVID also with the power, with the grid. and also what is going on with the overall construction. And I think we were not even talking about your fourth quarter production, which I think was quite good so far. And maybe you can comment a bit on the quarter now, which is in 2 weeks anyhow ended.
Yeah, that's right. So the construction of the project, right, the process plant in particular, is completed. Right, there's some little things like putting the last bit of the side of the building on and whatever, but it's completed. It's ready to go. And we actually were looking at hooking up on either Christmas Day or New Year Day, because that's when the power loads are low, and that's when the regulator likes to make these connections. And anyway, it didn't happen. I was informed on the 23rd of December that it wasn't going to happen. Right. So, make long story short, there's been good progress now. And I'd say we're more than halfway through the shutdowns and the work required to get the connection to happen. So there's that. Now, right, along with all of this happening, and since August of 2020, we've been processing material from the Juanicipio, mineralized material from the Juanicipio underground through the Fresnillo plant. And given that we're not going to hook the plant up to the power, what we're trying to do now is put the same amount of tons that we would have put through Juanicipio on commissioning, and then ramp up. We're going to put it through the Fresnillo and the Sasito plants. So you have a unique situation here of, okay, we're waiting for the power hookup, but we're going to make about the same amount of money, whether we were hooked up or not. And so I think you alluded to the fact that the production in the fourth quarter looked pretty good. It was. And we said this in our press release, that fourth quarter was very much influenced by December, where we started to put some serious tons and serious grade through. And so that's continued through the first quarter of this year, and that will continue through the second quarter of this year. And so we're seeing close to modeled grades for the Bonanza zone, 600 grams per ton, being processed. So where that puts us, right now that is a very important piece of information, because it tells us that, first of all, the silver's in the ground, which is good to know when you spend 5 years getting down there.
I would say yes. Yeah.
There's been times in this industry where there's been a big whoops, right?
Yeah.
So there's no whoops on the grade, which is important. A lot of the material we're processing now is still coming from development phases. Between 60, sometimes up to 75% of the material is from development phases, and we're getting such a good grade. That's very, very heartening, right? And bodes well for when we really get into full stope production and good grades. So what does that mean? It means that we're making pretty good cash flow. I don't know. It's probably of the order of $4 to $5 million a month to our account, which is paying for the balance of the bills we owe for the build and sustaining capital, whatever. So our balance sheet's in good shape. The overheads and the cost of waiting for the power to be connected is nominal, right? Probably less than $1 million a month. On a 100% basis, of which we pay 44% of that. And some of that work was going to happen anyway. It's in the 440. So, we've got to go through the process with the number of regulators in Mexico to flick the switch.
Super. Perfect. That sounds great to me. So that means let's put it that way, to go into commercial production, you are fully financed through, that is all fine. It is only like one of the last puzzle tiles to get the grid connected, to do the last little works, let's say on the buildings and stuff like this, and then you are ready to rumble.
Yep.
Super.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good thing.
We could rumble today. If we could flick the switch today, we would. There's those little bits and pieces don't affect whether it runs or not. Yeah.
Okay, super. When do you think you will be in commercial production? Just roughly, hypothetically. I know it's a forward-looking statement, but can we say like first quarter, second quarter next year?
I would think before. I would think before that. And the reason why I say that is, Fresnillo, who are the operator, they've been operating this same rock through the Sasito facility since 2008.
Okay, they should know what they do.
We've been putting the Juanicipio material through the Fresnillo and now the Sasito plants for a year and a half. So, and what we've learned from that is the rock mills, we grind it how we thought it would. We're getting the recoveries we expected. We're getting the concentrate grade we expected. So we've had like 18 months of practice. So I think it won't take that long to get to commercial production.
Super. Perfect. That sounds like a game plan. So let's switch to Utah shortly, to Deer Trail. Sure. Can you give us also an update? You had already, I think, a phase 1 drill program. You were doing some work there already. So what's the status? What's going on? And where do you see catalysts for this year?
Okay. So the phase 1 drilling was basically to try and find a particular package of limestone. It's called the red wall limestone, which is the best rock in this area to host carbonate replacement deposits. So we were drilling for that, and we found it. We also think the old Deer Trail mine up the top there is leakage from maybe the main mineralization, which is somewhere lower and maybe a little away from where they were mining. And so there's a couple of little feeders that we think the mineralization came up and mineralized the historical mine. We traced them down into this favorable rock, and we hit them, but not in the favorable rock. We hit them in a rock package above, which is not quite as good, but we got very good intercepts. They were narrow because they're feeders, but 1,000 grams per ton silver, 900 grams per ton silver, like grades that the historical mine saw. And so that was very encouraging for us. So that was phase 1. Phase 2 is to do the same thing, but drill deeper to hit that mineralization in the good rock. And then once we understand the mineralization in the good host rock, start to work out where is it coming from. And so phase 2 is about, let's confirm mineralization in the red rock limestones and then start to offset and find out where's it coming from. And so we've finished our first hole in phase 2. We're on our second hole now. I believe that probably the beginning of the third quarter of this year, we should have an update on that phase 2 drilling, right? And we hope that's positive. And then as we continue to work through our geological understanding, we may want to start to drill a few more holes on that property, which coincides with cash coming back from Juanicipio as well, so it's readily fundable. I think, it's Deer Trail is one of those, you hear it a lot in the business, but there's so much smoke here, and we got to go find the fire.
Exactly. Super. Perfect.
That's my exploration technical session for you today.
I love it. Please find the fire. That would be great. Super. Okay. Hey, George, thanks for the update. That looks all pretty good. I would say keep fingers crossed for your power plug-in and that you can go really fast into commercial production, because that would be then the major milestone.
Well, yeah, we're looking forward to that. Right? It's only a matter of time. Thanks, Jochen, and
fantastic.
All the best to everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen,
Bye.
that was George Paspalas, the CEO of Max Silver. And you heard that the company is in great shape, also diversifying now outside of Mexico into Canada, into the US, and they do what they can do best, exploration, find the stuff and find really big deposits. And the good thing is they will be hopefully then by end of the year already with Juanicipio in commercial production. And then, as you know, they have no debt. Money will fly into the company and also to the shareholders. That's exactly what we love to see. Zinc prices are high, silver looks good, gold looks good, copper is fantastic, lead looks good. So everything is in good shape. We are poised for some real nice moves here in commodities. And I would say Max Silver is fantastic positioned. Check out the company. Thanks for watching us and bye-bye from Switzerland.